Hey guys, what is up? My name is PandaMaster, and welcome to my spoiler-free review of episode 5 of Superman and Lois. Yeah, it's been a week now since the episode's come out. I just watched it this morning. I'm so sorry for my delay, but here we are. Expect nothing less. But I mean, this is the last episode we're gonna get until I believe it's like something like May 18th. Something like that. It's not coming back till May because of, like I said before, COVID halting production, and so they're actually still filming, and I think they said they would wrap up filming in June. So yeah, we might not get the season finale until like mid-fall. And so, with COVID, like I said, it's crazy scheduling for everything. Totally understand that, but yeah, this is the last episode we're gonna get for a while. And it was definitely an interesting episode to end on. Like, it kind of felt like a third season finale. It was interesting because it didn't have quite the stakes of like a normal mid-season finale, but it's also not mid-season, so it's understandable. And so technically we're a third of the way through the season since there's 15 episodes. So I feel like this is the first ever third season finale, this is the first ever, and I feel like this is about as much as we should expect going into it, because there were some really interesting reveals and cliffhangers and what have yous, to kind of keep us itching until May. And yeah, I'm very excited to see this come back. But yeah, I continue to love this show. It's one of my favorite shows on television right now. Yeah, I'm happy to be caught up now. Hopefully I'll be able to watch, the night of, like usual from now on, once it eventually comes back, because as of right now, I'm not really interested in The Flash or Supergirl or any of that, and so this will free up a little bit more time on my hands. Like I said, a little bit. It's literally an hour a week, but yeah. So yeah, The Best of Smallville. It's interesting to think about how this show is set up narratively, because you honestly have a ton of different stuff being juggled at one time. And what I mean by that is you have, like, the Superman show, which is, Superman versus the baddie, this Captain Luthor. And then you have the Lois side of the show, which is going up against Morgan Edge. And then you have the kids side of it, where you have, honestly, even, like, you can even separate it. Like, you have Jonathan's side, where he's got his entire life uprooted because of his family, and he's just sort of supposed to accept it. And then you have Jordan, who is a special, teenager who's going through all of that and has complicated feelings with Sarah, who I'm so obsessed with their relationship. And it's like, I know that their relationship is going to be one of those that is just continuously drug out for at least this season. Like, I'm pretty sure cable television cannot let a genuine relationship happen for at least a season. Like, at least, if not like an entire show. That's just how cable television works, and I hate it. And so, all of that stuff going on. But then there's also, like, an entire thing with the Cushings and, the family dynamic between, what's his name, Kyle and Lana and Sarah, and Sophie's kind of also there, but, it's just, there's all these different storylines, but they all connect. Like, it seems like a lot, and it is, but they all connect and interweave. And it's interesting that we see little updates from all of these every single episode. I know Captain Luthor wasn't in the, was it the fourth one, or was he also not in the third? I think he might have been gone for a couple episodes, actually. So I know that there's not necessarily, but you do have the Superman aspect of, like, Superman appears in every single episode, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's not just Clark, right? And so you have all of these narratives that we keep hearing from every time, and I keep getting more and more engrossed into the Cushing narrative every time. I still don't like Kyle, but again, I understand what he's doing. But it's interesting to follow with the Cushing narrative every episode, and I think it delivers some of the best moments of the show where you see that that side where, you know, it's interesting because so much of this show leans into family drama, right? It's not just a superhero show. And the Cushings are the shining example of that because no one in that family is superpowered. It is literally just family drama, and it's very compelling in what they do. And so I appreciate that a lot. And I think this show does so much to bridge the gap between genres. You know, superhero genre is becoming more and more mainstream every single year. I feel like we're at peak, you know, superhero fandom right now, but there's still plenty of people, which in this show's case, you have people that are really into family dramas that maybe aren't so enticed to the superhero genre. And I think Smallville was, you know, another example of that back in the early 2000s. You know, there were a lot of people that weren't into superheroes that loved Smallville because of the family drama nature of it. And I think this is the same thing. And yes, I'm going to keep comparing this to Smallville until the day I die. Even though, like I said, it has differences from Smallville. I don't believe this is a carbon copy by any way, shape, or form. But, you know, it feels like as close as we will get to a sequel series to Smallville as ever, you know? Except maybe Crisis on Infinite Earths, where we got a little bit of a mention, but, you know, not much. I mean, I watched that. It was, you know. But, yeah, this seems as close as we can get, and I'm so happy with it. I enjoy it every single week. I'm very sad to have to wait until May for more, but, again, completely understandable. No anger here. But, yeah, I'm very curious to, again, see how all of this sort of pans out in the long run. I think in terms of, like I said, like we did get some sort of like cliffhanger-y stuff going on at the end, but it kind of felt like, you know, a lot of times during these shows where they'll have a cliffhanger just set us up for next week, but then there is no next week. You know, it's one of those where I was like, oh, very interesting. Again, keeping it in spoiler-free terms. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to figure out what I can talk about that says spoiled past weeks, but doesn't spoil this week. X-Kryptonite is something that was introduced in episode 4 that is very interesting. I'm very curious. I'm less knowledgeable about X-Kryptonite. So yeah, it's kind of nice to not be to have this mystery, because a lot of comic book fans sort of know everything already, and like, yes, there are some small stuff that you obviously can't predict, but you know, they generally know what's going on because, you know, that this is an adaptation. And I'm sure that the comics have X-Kryptonite. I'm sure this isn't something new. But it's nice to kind of have something to not really know much about and just be like, ooh, I wonder what this is all about. And yeah, so I'm very curious to see what Edge and Lar are cooking up, and, you know, Lar's superhuman abilities. I think we got like half a step closer this episode to figuring out what that's all about. Not a ton, but just a little bit, just a smidgen. And I'm very curious to see where that develops. And yeah, again, I mean, weekly shout out to Jordan Elsass and Alex Garfin as Jordan and Jonathan, just absolutely killing it every single week. I'm interested, something I've been thinking about as the weeks go on. I really hope Jonathan doesn't pull a classic, like, huge blow up and like turn like quote unquote dark, and just because honestly he's getting the crap kicked out of him in this show, and so I would perfectly understand it. I just love him as a character so much. I don't want him, like, I want Jonathan is the best Superman in this show. He is like the least selfish out of everybody, and he's like 14, and so it's something that's very interesting to me. So I can totally see him taking a dark turn in this show, but I just hope they don't do that, because he's my baby boy, and we gotta love Jordan. And like I said, his whole thing with Sarah, I don't it drives me nuts, and I just want them to just make out already. Like, stop with the sexual tension, it's annoying. But yeah, so I will continue to love this show and I'm interested to know if you guys too. So let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. Like if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see more. This is gonna be the last one for a while because, you know, like I said, we don't have it until May. But, you know, I'm always gonna be coming out with some sort of content on this channel here for shows, movies, games, all that sort of stuff because I love it. It's what I do in my free time, pretty much exclusively. So yeah, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time for whatever it is I'm doing. All right, see ya.